Once upon a time, in a deep, dark forest, there stood a pretty little pine tree. But it wasn't happy. It wanted to be tall and important and live an adventurous life somewhere away from the forest. People from the villages enjoyed the forest. It was green, inviting, fresh and relaxing. They'd pass the little pine tree and say, "Oh, what a pretty little pine tree." But the pine tree was convinced that people were only making fun of it. On top of it all, a rabbit kept jumping over the little pine tree wanting to play. But the pine tree thought that the rabbit was only poking fun at how little it was. "I'll show them," thought the tree. "I'll grow tall. I'll see the world and I'll do something important. You'll see." The tree didn't notice the beauty of the forest, the singing birds, the gentle breeze, the rabbits, butterflies and deer. It wanted something else, something more, and somewhere else. Woodchoppers visited the forest and cut down the tallest trees. Crash! Ouch! That must hurt, thought the pretty little pine tree. But at least they're going away to do something important. An old stalk told the pine tree, "I know where they're going. Oh yes, they're going to be stripped and hammered, and yes, they'll make big strong masts for African ships." Wow, thought the pretty little pine tree. I wish I could do that, see the world and become something important. "Just be happy where you are," said the wise sunshine as she shared her glowing warmth and energy. "Why should I?" said the pine tree. "I just live in a stupid forest." Then it was Christmas. The woodchoppers came and chopped down some smaller trees, even smaller than the pretty little pine tree. "Why didn't they choose me?" complained the pretty little pine tree. "What's so special about them?" The twitchy little sparrows knew. They get to stand in warm houses dressed up with decorations and presents and sparkling with beautiful lights all around and children dancing and singing are all around them. Wow, thought the little pine tree. That's what I want. "But," said the wise sunshine, "you'll miss me. You'll miss my light and my warmth and all the peace here and all your friends here." But the pretty little pine tree just ignored her. Another year passed. Christmas again. The woodchoppers came and chopped down the pretty little pine tree, which was not so little anymore. "Ouch," said the tree. "But finally, it's my time to be important. I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen." And happen it did. After a really bumpy ride into the city and having some branches stripped away, it was dragged into a lady's house and placed in the middle of a very large room. The pretty pine tree was dressed up and covered in presents, decorations, candles and tinsel. The tree felt beautiful. Then it looked around to see that the whole house was decorated for Christmas. The tree was surrounded by expensive sofas and tables and chairs and carpet and bookcases, and important people came in and out of the house and were in a good mood. "At last," thought the tree, "now I'm important, and finally I'm worth a lot of money too. I knew this would happen." But in reality, the pretty little pine tree, now prettier and bigger than ever before, missed the lush smell of the forest, other pine trees, berries, mushrooms, and fresh running water, and the peace and even the annoying rabbit, the old stalk, the twitchy sparrows, and the warmth and light of the wise sunshine. Then came Christmas night. Singing, food, candles, colourful lights, dancing, presents, children screaming, laughter, tears, and a brief argument. This was the pretty pine tree's finest hour. It felt grand, important, worthwhile, and good. But just as quickly as it all started, it was all over. The tree was stripped of decorations, lights, tinsel, and candles, and was dragged up so many, many bumpy stairs to a cold, dark attic. Dark. Still. Alone. 2 little mice kept the tree company. They told the tree a story of a simple little boy who was in the right place at the right time and married a princess. Together they ruled a kingdom, even though they had relationship problems. The mice also told the tree about their life, then asked the tree, "Where did you grow up?" The pretty little pine tree told them about the forest and the sunlight and singing birds and the stork, the sparrows and the annoying little rabbit. "Wow," said the mice. "How wonderful that must be." And for the first time, the pretty little pine tree thought about how wonderful it actually was. The mice heard footsteps, so they scampered back into their hole. 2 people grabbed the tree and hauled it outside into the daylight. "Finally," said the tree, "I knew this would happen. My life is taking a good turn. It's getting better. I knew this would happen." Outside, the tree was beginning to enjoy the sunlight, the blossoms, and the fresh air when it looked down and saw how old it was, how its branches had withered, how its pine needles were brown and dry and falling out. It looked old. It looked dead. It was thrown in a forgotten corner of the garden. But days later, the children found it. Look what I found in the ugly old pine tree," said one. "A leftover silver Christmas bell." That got the pine tree remembering, and for a moment, it felt better. But the child stood on the poor pine tree's branches, crack, and plucked the bell violently from the branch. The tree felt sad. "If only I enjoyed life while I could. I should have. But now it's too late." Soon a woodchopper came and chopped the tree into small pieces. Eventually, each piece was thrown into a fire where they burned brightly. The children listened to the pop that each piece of wood made as it burnt. They didn't know it, but each pop was a sigh from our pretty little pine tree as it thought of summer in the forest, the wise sunshine, the annoying rabbit, its one glorious Christmas day, and the friendly mice. Many years passed. Forests all over the world became precious. Woodchoppers no longer chopped down Christmas trees, but rangers made sure the forests thrived everywhere. The ash from many long-forgotten Christmas trees from bygone Christmases were used to help new pine tree forests grow. Ashes from our pretty little pine tree also help feed new pretty little pine trees. Children and families from nearby villages regularly visited the new pine forests. They saw all the wonder of the forest, and they loved the beauty of all the pretty little pine trees. And each Christmas, they made a candlelit procession from the villages to the forests to decorate pretty little pine trees and sing and dance and exchange presents and smiles. Adults would talk and exchange recipes. Everyone enjoyed this joyful tradition. Some of the children still called the pines Christmas trees. Other children called them Hanukkah bushes. Maybe others called them eyed pines, enlightenment figs, or Yuletide saplings. Who knows? But pretty little pine trees everywhere are happy to be admired while they still get to stay in the forest.